Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. You expect the dark to stay outside. But in 1897, a novel was published that made millions of people lock their windows. It was written by a theater manager named Bram Stoker. He called it Dracula. Most people think it is a simple story about a monster with fangs. They think it is about a dark count who sleeps in a coffin. But Bram Stoker was not just trying to scare children. He was writing about a real, invisible threat that was terrorizing London. At the end of the 19th century, London was the center of the world. It was a massive, sprawling metropolis of 6 million people. But it was also a place of deep, unspoken terror. Microscopic killers were moving through the crowds. In 1882, a German researcher named Robert Koch discovered the bacterium that caused tuberculosis. For centuries, people believed tuberculosis was a hereditary curse. Suddenly, science revealed the terrifying truth. It was a tiny, unseen organism that could be passed through a cough, a kiss, or a touch. Disease was transmissible. You could catch death from a stranger on the street. Does that sound familiar? If you read Stoker's novel closely, Dracula does not act like a traditional mythical monster. He acts exactly like a virus. Think about how a virus behaves. It needs a host to survive. It cannot reproduce on its own. It enters a healthy body, hijacks its systems, and uses it to make copies of itself. This is precisely how Dracula operates. He arrives in England on a dead ship, hidden in boxes of earth. He is the patient zero of a supernatural plague. He chooses his first victim, a young woman named Lucy Westenra. He bites her, draining her vital fluids. But he does not just kill her, he infects her. Lucy changes, her blood changes. She becomes a host, seeking out others to infect. The virus spreads exponentially, one host at a time. In the late 1800s, the fear of contamination was everywhere. Scientists were just beginning to understand germ theory. People realized that their clean, civilized homes were vulnerable to invisible invaders. Stoker captured this exact anxiety. Dracula cannot enter a house unless he is first invited in. Once inside, he corrupts from within. He poisons the bloodline. Let us look at the symptoms Stoker describes. Lucy Westenra begins to grow pale. She suffers from extreme fatigue. She experiences sudden weight loss and night sweats. Her throat is marked by 2 tiny wounds. To a Victorian reader, these symptoms were terrifyingly recognizable. They were the exact classic signs of consumption, which we now call tuberculosis. In the Victorian era, tuberculosis killed 1 out of every 4 people. It was a slow, wasting death that drained the life out of families. Stoker's readers did not need to imagine a vampire to feel this dread. They were living it every single day. But there was another layer to this viral fear. It was the fear of the foreign. During the Victorian era, the British Empire was expanding. But as Britain reached outward, the world also flowed inward. Thousands of immigrants were arriving in London every week. Many came from Eastern Europe, fleeing poverty and persecution. The established citizens of London viewed these newcomers with deep suspicion. They feared that immigrants were bringing strange, ancient diseases from the East. Dracula is the physical embodiment of this xenophobic nightmare. He is an ancient nobleman from the Carpathian Mountains, a wild and uncivilized region. He buys up properties all over London. He literally moves into the heart of the empire. Stoker describes Dracula's physical appearance with striking specificity. He has a hooked nose, bushy eyebrows, and pointed ears. These were the exact physical traits that Victorian criminologist Cesare Lombroso claimed were signs of a born criminal and an atavistic throwback. Dracula was not just a foreign invader. He was a biological threat to the purity of the British race. How do you fight an enemy you cannot see? In the novel, the heroes do not use traditional weapons to fight Dracula. They use science, technology, and absolute hygiene. The leader of the hunt is Abraham van Helsing, a Dutch doctor and scientist. He is a man of medicine. He uses blood transfusions to try to save Lucy's life. He uses the cutting-edge technology of the day, telegraphs, typewriters, and phonographs to share data and track the monster. The fight against Dracula is presented as a public health campaign. The characters must isolate the infected, track the vectors of transmission, and sterilize the nests. They use garlic and holy water, but they also use the cold, calculating methods of modern epidemiology. They are trying to quarantine London. By the late 1890s, the British public was obsessed with sanitation. The government was building massive sewer systems. People were obsessive about washing their hands. The world was trying to scrub away the dirt that harbored disease. Dracula represents the ultimate contaminant. He is the walking corpse, the dirty earth, the blood-drinking parasite. He is everything that modern, clean, Victorian society was trying to eradicate. But Stoker's novel leaves us with a deeper, more unsettling realization. The heroes eventually hunt Dracula back to his castle and destroy him. They drive a knife through his heart, and he crumbles into dust. The infection is stopped. London is saved. But the victory is hollow. The novel ends with a sense of lingering unease. The characters have looked into the abyss of contagion. They realize how fragile their civilized world truly is. We like to think that we are safe in our modern, sterile environments. We have antibiotics, vaccines, and advanced medicine. We have conquered many of the plagues that terrorized Stoker's generation,